Welcome back to the Arbitrage YouTube channel. Today's class we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful structured sleeve that we're seeing here. So this is the front of the sleeve. It's actually pleated to create this puffiness that we have here, and then this is what the side is looking like, and this is what we have on the back of the sleeve. It's a very beautiful tutorial and it's very simple to make. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to make this sleeve, we're going to be working with the half circle method. There are several ways you can get this, but this is one of the simplest ways. So my round armhole measurement is actually 14 inches, but because of the pleats, I'll be multiplying that by 2, and that's going to give me 28 inches. So like I said, I'm working with a half circle. So the formula for getting the radius of a half circle is your circumference, which is wherever you want to place this sleeve, which in this case is my armhole, divided by 3.14. So to do that, I'm going to divide the 28 inches that I'm working with by 3.14, and that is giving me about 8.9. So I'm just going to round that up to 9 inches. So the radius that I'm working with is 9 inches, and then the length of this sleeve is, you can work between 7 to 10 inches, but I'm just going to work with 8 inches. So now my radius is 9 inches, and then the length I'm working with is 8 inches. So if I add this 9 and 8 together, I'm going to have 17 inches. So on my fabric, I'm going to go ahead and mark the 17 inches like this. So once I have 17 inches, I'm going to put it on fold into 2. Then after folding it into 2 like this, I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to fold it in a diagonal form, like a triangle, just like you fold your half circle flare. Okay, so after folding it in a diagonal form like this, I'm going to mark my radius, which is 9 inches. So I'll mark the 9 inches all round, and then I'll connect that together. So after marking your 9 inches, the next is to mark the length, which is 8 inches. In this case, your length can be 7, it can be 9 as well, but don't make it too long. So this is 8 inches, and then I'm going to connect that as well. So after connecting it, I'm going to take my scissors and then cut out what I have. So I've got the length. Now I'm cutting my radius. So now if you open it up, you will see that this is an half circle flare. So you can see it's just half of a circle. So I'm just cutting one sleeve because of this tutorial. If you're working with with 2 sleeves, you can just cut it in form of a full circle. Then you just divide it into 2 for each of your sleeve. But because I'm just working with one sleeve, that's why I'm dividing it by 3.14. So if you're working with a full circle, of course you're going to divide your circumference by 6.28. So now this is what we have. So to shape this, I'm just going to put this on fold like this. Okay, this is the radius of my circle of my sleeve, which is where I'm going to be sewing to my armhole. And then on this outer part, to shape it, I'm just going to try to locate like the midpoint, so which is here. So now from there, I'm just going to connect in a circular form, like in a curved form like this, to blend in with the apex. Okay, you can see what I'm doing, just using my free hand to do that. So after connecting it, I'll go in with my scissors, and then I'm going to shape it out. So now we have 2 different pieces for our sleeve. I don't want to cut this out so that I don't. Okay, so let me just cut it. So now these are the 2 pieces that we have for our sleeve, and this is going to be the underarm area. So this underarm area, we're going to go ahead and sew it together so that we can have one piece back. So now this is my lining. I'll go ahead now and just cut this out on my main fabric. So slashing it into 2 like this is just going to manage your fabric for you. You can see this is not going to consume too much fabric. I'm just going to put my fabric on fold like this, and then I'll place it on it. So after placing it on it like this, I'm just going to cut it out. So this is going to like manage fabric for me because I don't have too much fabric to work with. So I'm just placing it like this, make sure everything is inside, and then I'll just cut it out. So I have cut it out on my main fabric now. As you can see, I have 2 of these as well. So now this is a structured sleeve, so you need like a strong interfacing to bring out that standing structured effect that we have. But for this tutorial, I'm using this gum stay, so you can use a collar stay or a peplum stay so that I can have something really strong. So what I'm going to do now, because it's a gum stay, I'll go ahead and add the gum stay to both my lining and my main fabric. But if you're using a strong collar stay, you can just add it to your lining alone. So I'll just cut this now, and then I'll go ahead and fix this with my hot iron. Okay, so the reason I decided to slash it open like this is because I want to have a seam on the underarm. This is going to make it a lot easier to work with. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and join the 2 straight parts. Remember this part that we curved, you're going to join these straight parts together like this for both the main fabric and the lining. And cutting it into half again is going to save your fabric for you, especially if your main fabric is not so low, if you don't have enough fabric. So you just cut it with your lining and then place it on your main fabric just like I did. So now I'll sew it on this this large part here, not this other part. I'll go ahead and sew it together, and then we'll use it to turn out each other. So I've gone to sew it. As you can see, the lining is sewn separately, and then the main fabric is sewn separately as well. So what I'm going to do now is to place it right side facing right side, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew it on the lower part, not this circumference. Remember, this radius part is where you're going to sew to your sleeve. So on this outer part, which is going to show, I'll go ahead and sew it all around so that I can turn it out neatly. So I have sewn it all around now. As you can see, I'm just going to trim off the excess that I have there, and then I'm going to turn it out and iron it flat. So when you turn it out, it's going to look a little puffy. That's why you need to iron it before you sew. So this is what it looks like now. So it is ironed now, and you can see how flat it is looking on both sides. So now to shape it, remember where we have our seam, that's where your underarm is. So I'm just going to put it on fold like this. This is the part we're going to sew to our sleeve, to our armhole. This is the underarm. So on the underarm area, you're going to go ahead now and measure the round sleeve or where you're placing this sleeve. So for me, the round sleeve is about, okay, the round sleeve is about 13 inches. So if you divide 13 inches by 2, you're going to have 6.5. So from this underarm area here, you're going to mark 6.5. The measurement was taken loosely. Okay, so you mark 6.5. So from where this 6.5 inches stops, you go ahead now and then sew everything completely. So from this 6.5 inches will be open. That's where your arm is going to come out from. So from here now, you go ahead now and then sew it all around up to this tip. Okay, so I've gone ahead to sew it, and if you notice, you will notice that this was sewn as close as possible. I hope the camera is focusing well, so you don't take half an inch here, so that you can avoid all this bulkiness that you can get there. So you just close it. Since everything is turned out neatly already, you just sew it very close as possible. You can see where my seam is. The seam is around here. Okay, I'm trying to see if my camera will focus so that I can see the seam very well. It's very close to the tip. So now after doing that, all you just need to do now is to turn this out so that we can go ahead and pleat. Remember, we used double of our sleeve, so we need to pleat this armhole back to its original form. So now if you notice, after turning it, this place is looking a bit curved, so you need to blend everything together. You can see how this place is looking curved inwards. So what you just need to do now is to make sure to blend this together with the armhole that you have, so that it can look like a real armhole. So now from here, now I'm just going to like blend from here so that I can avoid all these curved parts that I have here. So I'm just trying to use my free hand to just blend everything in. So after blending it in, you come in with your scissors and then you just cut everything out like this. So now if you open it up, you see that it's looking better. If you see that it's still looking curved, you just go ahead now and then cut it out again. Just need to have something that is really smooth, just like we have it here. So now that everything is smooth enough, I'm going to go ahead and pleat this to my actual sleeve measurement of 14 inches. So now I'll go to my sewing machine now and then pleat all this to 14 inches. So I have gone ahead to pleat it now. As you can see, it is pleated, and then you just need to take your tape now and then you measure around to be sure that you have your actual sleeve measurement which you started with. In my case it was 14 inches, so you can see that I have 14 inches on this line, this underarm line that I have, and then you make sure that it is neat both in and out. So now this is what the sleeve is looking like. You can see that curve that we have there, and you can see that even with just the gum stay, it has this structure already, it's standing on its own, and it's really beautiful. So now I'll take this to this mannequin so that we can see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what the sleeve looks like on the mannequin. You can see the pleats that we created on this upper part, and you can see the puffiness that we have there and the structure the stay is giving us. So this is what it looks like on the hem. Your hem is just going to come from the opening that we created, just like that. This is what it looks like on the side, and this is what the back of the sleeve looks like. You can see that it is equally beautiful, and your pleat is giving you some drips around that area. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful sleeve with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.